In today's equity index futures markets, let's take a look at the NASDAQ 100 futures today as they're under some selling pressure, reversing out of the higher opening. We did see most of the major equity index futures markets higher this morning. Actually, I think all of them were higher. But then selling pressure persisted throughout the day, and the NASDAQ futures are now closing down for a fifth consecutive trading session, currently around the 11,640 level. And when you look at some of the driving factors today, I think the stimulus negotiations are first and foremost. There was some hope of the weekend that they might be able to reestablish something positive here in the next 2 days. Those hopes were slowly diminished throughout the trading session as the narrative definitely did not necessarily progress in the way that the market had hoped. And with that, the selling pressure persisted, and I think that's one of the main factors why we did see that reversal today in the NASDAQ futures pushing lower. Couple that with the storyline surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic and the cases, the number of cases, not only here in the United States, but globally. And what does that mean for the market moving forward? The market's still trying to sort through that. Certainly, it has not had the impact that it did a few months ago. The market's starting to get a feel for the impact. But the uncertainty surrounding this and what the next wave might bring, I think, is why we did also see another hesitation here within the equity index futures markets, and particularly the NASDAQ 100 futures. And looking at the trends in place, I do want to point out that the NASDAQ 100 futures are really the worst performer here the last week, down 5% from the highs that they attained just 5 trading sessions ago, intraday highs. And we're seeing really the Russell futures holding up better than the other major equity index futures markets. But so that rotation continuing to take place as we're seeing some of these big tech names under some pressure here, or at least not realizing the upward momentum that they had earlier in the summer. And couple that with the trends in place, the short-term trends, I want to point out that the NASDAQ futures are now trading at a 6-day low. You have to go back to October 9th, Friday, and October 9th to see them trading at this level. So they are losing a little bit of this momentum that they had reestablished here early in October, under some selling pressure. So the market's going to start to focus, I think, on not only the stimulus moving through the next 24 hours, but earnings are going to start to kick in here, particularly for the NASDAQ next week, where you're going to see some of those big names start to report their earnings. So I think that's another reason why we're seeing some hesitation here before those earnings start to roll out next week in the NASDAQ 100 futures.